The Great Pacific Garbage Patch lies in the North Pacific Ocean, in between the western coast of North America and Japan. In this patch of ocean, there is a large collection of marine debris. All this debris flows and settles in this area because of the North Pacifical Subtropical Conversion Zone. This area is an ocean gyre that carries trash through the ocean on strong currents. These currents spin in a clockwise direction that covers about 7.7 million square miles. When trash gets caught in this current, it will spin around until it gets pushed into the center. The center of this zone is very calm, which allows the trash to settle and break down into smaller pieces of trash. Since a lot of this trash is plastic, it'll break down into microplastics. Microplastics are a major threat to the wildlife in the ocean because many animals are eating them thinking that it is food. If an animal eats plastic, it'll die or cause harm to another animal that feeds on that animal. Plastics take an extremely long time to fully decompose, causing this problem to be something that will last dangerously long unless we are able to do something about it. These microplastics are hard to see with the naked eye, but has about 1.9 million bits per square mile on the surface alone. With that much only on the surface, scientists estimate that about 70% of the trash sinks to the bottom of the ocean. Along with microplastics, there are other types of trash, including 705,000 tons of fishing net. This is not the only garbage patch in the ocean. There are currents that flow in between every continent, which causes the trash to flow in a circle until it settles in the middle of the currents, exactly like the North Pacific garbage patch. This is happening everywhere in the world and is only getting worse. As individuals, we need to improve how we live to inspire others to do the same. Even though the trash in this patch of the ocean is hard to see because it is either underwater or has been broken down into smaller pieces, we have to make an effort to inform everyone that just because you cannot see it, it is there and is a threat to the wildlife in the ocean and everything surrounding it. Knowing this will hopefully convince people to think about how they use and dispose of their trash. The only way that we can prevent the Pacific garbage patch from growing is the way that we live our lives. If everyone chooses an option that is less wasteful, like having a reusable water bottle or recycling things that they can, we could make a difference on the amount of trash that enters the ocean. At this point, cleaning the ocean would be nearly impossible.
Plastics is a part of our everyday life. From cups to containers to wrappers, it makes up almost everything we use in our daily lives. The fact that we use plastic is not a bad thing. It is what we do with the plastic after we finished using it. Many of the disposable plastic materials we use end up in the ocean and mess with marine life. When the plastic trash reaches the ocean, it can harm all the animals that depend on the ocean for food. Plastic nets often entangle birds and seals and make it impossible for them to move. Fish and other animals will eat the floating trash, thinking it is just food, and the plastic ends up poisoning them. In 1970, scientists from the National Marine Mammal Lab concluded that plastic entanglement was killing around 40,000 seals a year. With that, the seal population dropped 6% in 1976, and in 30 years, the northern fur seal population declined by 50%. There is a devastating increase of marine mammals with illnesses such as nervous and digestive system problems, endocrine system damage, reproductive malformation, liver disease, and growth development issues. Scientists from all around the globe believe these illnesses are related to the amount of trash that is in our oceans that are being consumed by marine creatures. PDBE or flame retardants are found in 85% of commercial plastics. The flame retardants in the plastics end up being eaten by fish and other sea creatures. PDBE concentrations are doubling every 4 years in marine mammals like dolphins and killer whales, and the levels have more than tripled in the striped bass and doubled in the halibut in the San Francisco Bay. Since we eat fish just like the marine mammals do, we can look at the dolphins and orcas as a message from the future showing us what will happen to us if we do not change. Killer whales are on top of the food chain, so that is why they are feeling the devastating effects of the high concentrated toxins that has collected in their bodies due to poison fish they eat. Animals and our ocean, we can look for alternative materials or avoid excessive packaging when deciding on purchases. We can also recycle. Many communities currently offer pickup recycling programs for number 1 and 2 plastics. And finally, we educate others about the problem of marine debris.
Ways we can help make the ocean better is if we understand and get a sense of knowledge for the oceans, and we learn what the oceans are about, and we develop a sense of respect for them. And if we really understand about overfishing, then we can learn how to keep the sea life population high and keep them alive. You need to learn to also watch what you put down your drains because it eventually goes back to the ocean. And if you're disposing of chemicals or solvents or anything that can prove as poisonous to the sea life, it harms them and it can kill them. And this is why our sea life is depleting right now. We need to learn how to dump properly, but we also need to learn how to throw away our trash properly. If we're not throwing away our trash properly, things can get to the ocean that can prove harmful to the sea life. Say, for instance, the six-pack rings can wrap around the seals or the seagulls or the dolphins and can kill them. We also need to learn how to use water properly and cautiously because, as you know, we're in a drought, and if we just use water without thinking or being smart, it takes away from the main resource, which is the ocean. Along with that, if we're just using water for, say, medicine or chemicals, it pollutes the water and causes it to become unlivable for sea life. So join a beach cleanup group, or you can join any type of association that helps to clean up beaches and oceans. And if you do this, what they basically do is on weekends they'll go to the beach or they'll go underwater and they'll pick up the trash, and this simply just helps the pollution in the water. Last but not least, just the main way you can help is just be smart with what you do and just watch what you put down your drain. Be cautious of the water that you're using. Throw away if you trash properly, and just do the best that you can to help make the ocean a better place because it affects millions, not just 1 millions.